You're doubting yourself right now. Even reading this, some quiet voice is asking if you're wasting your time. That voice never sleeps. It whispers before every decision, every risk, every message you almost send and then delete. And here is the terrifying part. You have obeyed it your entire life without ever knowing its name. So what if a man who had every reason to doubt himself, a man mocked as a fool, penniless, told he would never amount to anything, discovered a way to silence that voice completely? What did he know that you don't? His name was Cleanthes, and when he first arrived in Athens, he had exactly 4 coins to his name. 4. That was the sum total of his life's worth. He had been a boxer once, a fighter who traded blows for coins in the dust, and now, well past his prime, he had come to the greatest city in the world to study philosophy under Zeno, the founder of Stoicism. There was just one problem. He had no money to live on. None. In Athens, if you could not pay, you did not eat. And if you could not eat, you did not last. The other students came from wealth. They arrived in fine robes with slaves with family names that opened doors. And then there was Cleanthes, a former prize fighter with cauliflower ears and calloused hands, sitting in the back, saying almost nothing. They looked at him and saw a man who did not belong, and for a while, he must have wondered if they were right, because the doubt did not come from them. It came from inside him. That is the thing about doubt. It does not need enemies. It recruits your own mind against you. Every night, Cleanthes faced a question that would have broken most men. How do I survive here without giving up the one thing I came for? And the answer he found was so strange, so extreme, that the entire city began to talk about him. They dragged him in front of a court over it. But we will get to that, because first, you have to understand exactly how deep the hole was that he was standing in. He made a decision that no reasonable person would make. Every night, while Athens slept, Cleanthes went to work. He carried water. He hauled it, bucket after bucket, from the wells to the gardens of the wealthy, his boxer's shoulders straining in the dark. He ground grain. He did the labor that the enslaved and the desperate did, brutal, endless, invisible work. And then, when the sun rose, he did not sleep. He walked straight to Zeno's school to study philosophy all day, water carrier by night, student by day, no rest in between. He did this not for a week, not for a month. He did this for years. And here is where it gets strange. The Athenians noticed this man who seemed to have no visible income, yet never missed a lecture, and they grew suspicious. Where was his money coming from? What was he hiding? So they hauled him before the court, the magistrates who judged the citizens, and demanded he explain how a man with no trade could afford to spend all day in idle study. Cleanthes stood before them, this quiet giant, accused essentially of being a fraud. And you can imagine the doubt roaring in his ears in that moment. This is your chance to quit. This proves you don't belong. Go home. But instead, he did something that shifted the entire room. He called in 2 witnesses, the gardener whose beds he watered by night, and the woman whose grain he ground before dawn. They testified to his labor, and the court, stunned, saw the truth. This was a man working himself to the bone for wisdom. They were so moved, they offered him a gift of money from the public treasury, and Cleanthes refused it. He refused. Why would a starving man refuse free money? The answer to that is the first piece of his 3-step code, and it is the exact opposite of what you have been taught. Stop for a moment, because you have stood in that courtroom too, not in Athens, in your own life. The moment you were asked to justify yourself, and the doubt flooded in. The interview where your voice shook, the room full of people who seemed to belong more than you did. The morning you did not want to get up because some part of you had already decided you would fail before the day began. The message you typed and retyped and never sent. You know this feeling in your body, that tightness in the chest, that hesitation that costs you the thing you actually want. And here is what almost no one realizes about that feeling. The doubt is not information. It feels like a warning. It feels like truth telling you to stop. But Cleanthes discovered it is nothing of the kind. Doubt is not a signal about reality. It is a signal about your relationship to effort. And when he refused that money, he was doing the first step of his code. He was proving to himself through action that his worth was not up for a vote. This is the first pillar. Cleanthes taught that we are like a dog tied to a moving cart. The cart is going where it is going. That is fate, circumstance, the things you cannot control. You have two choices. You can dig in your heels and be dragged, choking, screaming, resisting every step, or you can run alongside the cart, willingly. Same direction, same destination, but one is agony and one is freedom. Doubt is you digging in your heels, and the first step to killing it is to stop fighting the fact that the work is hard and simply run. He did not refuse the money because he was proud. He refused it because accepting it would have meant the doubters were right, that he could not do this himself. He chose the harder path on purpose, because the harder path was the only one that silenced the voice. But choosing hard work was only the beginning. The second step is where his real genius shows, and it is something modern psychology only proved true 2,000 years later. Here is what made Cleanthes different from every other student in that school. He was slow, genuinely slow. His mind did not move quickly like the others. They nicknamed him the ass, the donkey, because he was plodding, laborious, dull compared to the quick wits around him. And most men would have taken that nickname as the final proof that they did not belong, that the doubt had been right all along. But Cleanthes did something breathtaking. He accepted the name. He said yes. He was the ass. Because the ass, he said, is the only animal strong enough to carry the load that Zeno places on its back. He took the insult meant to break him and turned it into his identity of endurance. This is the second step of the code. Separate the fact from the story. When doubt speaks, it does not give you facts. It gives you a story about the facts. The fact was, he learned slowly. The story doubt wanted to tell was, therefore you are stupid, therefore you will fail, therefore stop. Cleanthes cut the story away from the fact with a blade. He kept the fact, I am slow, and he rejected the poisonous conclusion the doubt tried to attach to it. And you can do this too, right now. The fact might be, I failed at this before. The story doubt attaches is, therefore I always will. Those are two completely different statements, and the second one is a lie disguised as the first. Modern cognitive science has a name for this exact move. They call it cognitive reframing, the core of cognitive behavioral therapy, the single most evidence-backed treatment for anxiety and self-doubt that exists today. And its founding insight is precisely what Cleanthes lived. It is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about events. Change the judgment, and the doubt loses its grip. The slow donkey did not become fast. He became unbreakable. And when Zeno finally died, do you know who the school chose to lead it? Not the quick ones, not the wealthy ones. Him, the water carrier, the donkey, the man everyone doubted, led the Stoic school for the next 30 years. So here finally is the answer to the question we began with. What did Cleanthes know that you don't? He knew that doubt owns you only as long as you treat it as the truth teller in your mind. So here is his 3-step code, and you can use it tonight. Step 1. When doubt rises, do not run from the hard thing. Run toward it willingly, like the dog beside the cart. Action is the acid that dissolves hesitation. Motion first, confidence second, never the other way around. Step 2. Separate the fact from the story. Write down what doubt is telling you. Then cross out everything that is a prediction or a judgment, and keep only the bare fact. Watch how small the truth actually is once you strip away the lie wrapped around it. Step 3, the one that made him unbreakable. Take the thing you were mocked for, the weakness you are most ashamed of, and reframe it as the very source of your strength. He was slow, so he became the one strong enough to carry the load. What are you calling a flaw that is actually your endurance in disguise? Do that tonight. One doubt. 3 steps, and you will feel the voice lose a piece of its power, because you will have done what Cleanthes did in that courtroom. You will have refused to let the doubters, including the one inside your own skull, decide your worth. The man with 4 coins became one of the greatest minds in history, not by silencing his doubt, but by refusing to obey it. That voice in your head will never fully disappear, but it was never meant to be your master. It was only ever meant to be a sound. So the next time it whispers that you are not enough, Remember the donkey who carried the whole school on his back, and keep walking. If this reached something real in you, subscribe, because the next story might be the one that changes how you carry your own weight.